Hey everyone, it's Victoria with Nutrition by Victoria. Welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be discussing a very popular topic that is trending at the moment, and that is fruitarianism. So I'm going to be talking about my thoughts on whether it's sustainable, whether it's something you should do for your health, for healing, and all that jazz. So just to share a bit of backstory about myself, when I originally came onto the high carb, low fat, plant-based vegan lifestyle back in March of 2012, so I've been eating high carb, low fat, vegan for 9 years, I went fruitarian. So I actually had come from being raw and doing fasting, and then I found Freely the Banana Girls videos and bumped up my fruit intake and gained 60 pounds just eating fruits and greens. So it is a myth that the fruitarian diet will make you lose weight, being a detox diet, all of that jazz. Those are definitely gimmicks. The body heals itself. It takes care of everything that you need to, as long as it is functioning well, meaning that you haven't starved it, you haven't abused it in any kind of way, taking drugs, stimulants, etc. So homeostasis is the balance that occurs in our system when we are healthy. As long as we're, maintaining healthy practices, eating enough calories from food every day, eating a sufficient amount of nutrients from fruits and vegetables, but not eating exclusively fruits and vegetables, getting enough sleep, being active, etc. The body finds its happy place. So my body eventually found its happy place, but it wasn't on an all raw diet. And I don't believe that you need to do an all raw diet either, even though Freely the Banana Girl says that it is the most optimal diet for human beings. I actually disagree with that, even though I benefited immensely from following her advice, and I still do follow her advice to a certain extent. I really have had a lot of success doing like a raw till 4 type diet, but I've also had a lot of success just learning how my body wants to eat. So that means I can't do 2 smoothies a day. I can do 1 smoothie a day, and it has to be frozen fruit. And there's, so many details included in that. But it also means that I'm not eating an exclusively fruit and vegetable based diet. I've tried doing that several times. I actually documented it on here. I tried to do a challenge. It was either in February or March of this year, where I only ate fruits and vegetables, no starches, and I failed, because my digestive tract didn't agree with that. It said, you're gonna be bloated, you're gonna be miserable, and it just wreaked havoc on my system. So that's just a bit of my experience, but I've tried it several times, and I actually think that in the beginning, when I first adopted the high carb, low fat, plant-based vegan diet, after coming from what was actually an eating disorder, I would have had more success if I knew what I knew now and didn't fall into the dogmatic belief that raw was law, or that I needed to be fruitarian. Actually, I think that worked against me to a certain extent, even though my body was now getting a lot of calories and nutrients and things it needed to metabolically repair. I think it would have went a lot faster if I was coaching myself now, which I do offer coaching if you're interested. It's on my website, and the link is down below in the description box. Okay, so I wanted to get into some specific questions that Stevie P left for me on Instagram. My Instagram is Nutrition by Victoria if you're interested. So her questions were about fruitarianism. And like I said, this is trending right now because Freely the Banana Girl is eating a fruitarian diet. She grows a lot of her own food. It's worked for her in the past, and I think that that's great. She also had a lot of success doing what I currently do, which is a raw till 4 type diet. But I'm not dogmatic with that. Today I had rice wraps rice wraps being spring rolls with rice in them, and salad vegetables at 3:30. But I do like to do where I have fresh fruit and smoothies and dates at the beginning of the day, and then towards the end of the day, I'll start having some starches. And that works great for me. My belly stays nice and flat. This is 4:30, almost a full day of eating other than dinner so far. Yeah, and I just feel really good. I'm getting a lot of benefits physically right now, as long as I rest enough, but my power output on the bike is just super, it's the highest it's ever been. And yeah, I'm just feeling really good in life as long as I can get enough rest. So that's a really important factor. But okay, so Freely the Banana Girl right now is promoting fruitarianism like crazy. I think she still promotes her Raw Till 4 book, which is great because that's what I recommend for most people to do, is something like that. But don't get dogmatic with it. Don't just follow her, plan to a T. You have to figure out what works best for your body. And when you do that, that's when the ball really starts rolling. And I had to actually learn that from watching other YouTubers like Stella the Light. She has a great channel. She's not exclusively raw, but she's had a lot of really good results doing like an intuitive eating with a plant-based diet. So her channel is great. Okay, so Stevie P's questions were that she's trying to go fruitarian, and basically the Facebook group that she's in, I believe is what she's referring to, is against refined sugar. They're saying you only eat organic, you don't use pasteurized juice. And she calculated that if a person needs to eat 3,000 calories a day on a raw, vegan, fruit-based diet, that comes to about $60 a day. If you're calculating, it's 200 calories per pound of food and $4 per pound of food, which I think is a good average. Unless you're eating like all bananas, then it's going to be a little less money. And that comes to about $1,800 a month, which I think is, close to what some people make for a total month, I spend less than $1,800 a month to feed my family of 4. So that just kind of puts things into perspective. And I'm pretty sure that Swayze from Unnatural Vegan said that, it comes out to be a lot of money too. Now, I'm not here saying that I agree with anything that Swayze says or Freely the Banana Girl says or anything that any of these other YouTubers are saying at present, because I think a large part of having success on a high carb, low fat, plant-based vegan lifestyle is figuring out what works best for you. So to address Stevie P's questions or comments to me, I don't recommend doing a fruitarian diet. I think fruit, sugar, and starch should be the focus. Getting the majority of your calories from those foods and whatever combination works best for you. I find having fruit earlier in the day and starch the second half of the day works best for me. Sometimes I will have like a little bit of fruit after like a smaller starch meal. You just have to figure it out for yourself. Like that's the trial and error. That's the intuitive part of it that gets you, to be the most successful, and not being afraid of calories. So when I say intuitive eating, that doesn't mean under eating. It means figuring out what is your sweet spot where you feel the best. And usually most people need to eat more than what they think is working for them. So, and then you get used to knowing what it feels like to eat too much too. But getting back to this fruitarian thing, I've tried it and it doesn't work. It's not sustainable. Most of the time people are not eating, you can't eat fruits and vegetables where they're like ripe enough, where they're not going to cause you digestive problems. I grow my own food in the summertime, and you have to really make sure what you're eating fruit-wise is ripe. And then a lot of vegetables actually grow, like cucumbers and zucchinis, which are actually botanically fruits. They have it feels kind of spiky, but it's like a hair that's kind of on them. And the whole plant has this, and it's to protect the plant from bugs eating the stuff. So you got to make sure you clean that off, and a lot of times the rind will be bitter. And for somebody with a sensitive digestive system like myself, like I can't eat those things without it causing me problems. So I found vegetables in particular, I can't eat too much of them without having issues, and it's related to the plants themselves. So when you're dealing with starches, you're not having that problem so much, because like white rice, for example, is just pure starch. There's no like irritants involved. So it kind of gets into like food intolerances and stuff like that. I'm sure I have a mango allergy. I'm sure like me not being able to eat, 100% raw fruits and vegetables has, something to do with like my body, and maybe that I'm like mostly European descent. So there's all kinds of factors involved. I'm sure if somebody's born in the tropics and they're raised, on a tropical fruit diet, like maybe that would work well for them. But for most people, yes, dear.
I want to go in the pool.
Okay, I'm gonna take you in the pool. A few minutes, okay? Okay, thanks. Okay, but anyway, so maybe for some people, like freely living in the tropics and growing all their own food and being really seasoned on how to eat ripe stuff and not having food sensitivities and things like that, it works for her. But for most people, like, you don't have to torture yourself. You can get a lean, fit, healthy body eating a diet abundant in carbohydrates, abundant in fruit, having sugar added to bring up the taste. I actually find that adding sugar to my fruit smoothies in particular aids in their digestion so much, because if it's not sweet enough for me, I end up having digestive issues. Isn't that interesting? And I think it has something to do with like the plant compounds that are in the fruits when they're not sweet enough, which gets into the unripeness again. So there's so many like variables, but I'm finding that having that starch in my diet helps to balance everything out. And that kind of gets into like Ayurvedic diet methodologies, because I've done a lot of reading in that, and they talk about how like a fruit and rice diet is actually the most balancing for the human being, like in terms of like our chakras and things like that. So and like it's a sattva diet, and so there's a lot of like I could go on about this all day, so I'm gonna wrap this up. And then adding like natural sweeteners aid in digestion, things like that. So basically, and then there's the salt thing. Like I've found that adding salt to my diet too has helped to like aid in my digestion of starch. So there's so many like different variables, and you have to figure out what works best for you. There's nothing wrong with giving the fruitarian diet a try, but don't think that it's going to be some magical weight loss healing effort, because healing and weight loss comes from you consistently feeding your body a high carb, low fat, plant-based vegan diet that works best for you, getting sufficient sleep, spending time in the fresh air, having adequate nutrients and carbohydrates and sufficient fat and protein, which you get from eating sufficient calories on a high carb, low fat, plant-based vegan diet, in the long term, and being physically active per, where your body's currently at. So it is a process. It's not, that is what creates the environment for your body to heal. It's not a special diet that's going to do that. It's giving your body what it needs in order for it to heal itself. And some people say, well, that's what, the fruitarian diet does. That's not true. The body needs to be given what helps it to heal the best. And if you're reacting badly to a fruitarian diet, if you're not getting enough calories on a fruitarian diet, it's not going to help you out. So that's it for this video. This was such a great topic to talk about, especially since fruitarian is trending right now. There's nothing wrong with giving it a try. There's nothing wrong with eating a high fruit diet, but do what works best for you. Okay, leave any comments and questions down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.